It is easy to get into the line of thinking that the Golden State Warriors don't have too many questions. They have two of the 5 best players in the league with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. Klay Thompson can put up 60 points while holding the ball for a minute total the entire game or something ridiculous like that. Draymond Green is the most versatile player in the NBA. They're loaded from top to bottom. And some people believe they've made the NBA not as fun because we kind of know what's going to happen in the end. But my question is with Andre Iguodala, because he's the one guy who has come off the bench for these Warriors, has sacrificed his role as a scorer to be more of a defender, playmaker, and he's getting up there in age. And he still makes a huge impact for them. Are they going to have that extra wing player who can do so much for them on both sides of the floor? Or is he just going to be too slow because of his age? We're going to have to find out this season. Kawhi Leonard just keeps on getting better, man. And the Spurs are going to rely on him to be an elite player, which I think everyone would recognize him as at this point in his career. But their point guard, Tony Parker, whether it be because he's just been hurt at times the past few seasons or because he's gotten older, his effectiveness and consistency is simply not the same, and San Antonio has to look to a significantly younger point guard, and that is DeJounte Murray, who has played already some decent minutes for them. Is he going to be ready to go? Is he going to be the point guard for the San Antonio, whether he's starting or coming off the bench, who can make a positive impact? We're going to have to see. James Harden went to another level for the Houston Rockets this previous season as a playmaker, but they weren't content with that. They had to acquire who may be the best playmaker in the NBA given his low amount of turnovers, and that being Chris Paul. But what I want to talk about is some of their underrated acquisitions, one of them being PJ Tucker, who was quietly one of the best defenders in the league in Phoenix for multiple years, as well as Luke Richard Mbah-a-Moute, who can defend some small players, but if he's matched up on a LaMarcus Aldridge, he actually can have some success as well. Teams are going to be daring these two to do something offensively, whether it's hit open three-pointers or maybe do some damage off the bounce. These two are going to have to provide Houston just enough offense to where teams cannot just ignore them in the postseason. You can't ignore the offseason that the Oklahoma City Thunder had as they paired up Russell Westbrook with Carmelo Anthony, as well as one of the easiest players to acclimate into a system, and that'd be Paul George, just because he can do everything well. Now, we know that Steven Adams, the mountain man in the middle, is going to be the 4th guy for this team. Who's going to be the 5th guy? They have quite a few options. One of them is Andre Robertson, who is known for his defense, length, athleticism, and that's about it. There's Alex Abrines, who, if he gets hot, is one of the better shooters in the league, but he doesn't really do too much else. There is Jeremy Grant, who's not the defender that Robertson is, and he's not the offensive player that Abrines is, but he is kind of the in-between guy. Perhaps it could even be Raymond Felton, a point guard who has played in some big games in his career and has the poise to play heavy minutes. My pick is Patrick Patterson, because defensively he's very good as a power forward. He has always had a quality net rating for Toronto coming off the bench, and then offensively he can do enough if you leave him open. Hopefully his health is going to be there. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they did a lot. They acquired one of the better players in the league, Jimmy Butler, to go along with the young core of Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. Offensively, I think they're going to be fine, even if it won't be a perfect fit at all times, because the shooting on this team isn't exactly perfect. But I want to look at Karl Anthony Towns. Offensively, as a rebounder, the guy's great. But where is he going to be defensively? Because that was Minnesota's problem this previous season. He's now entering his 3rd year. At a certain point, you have to figure it out on defense, Towns. And these might be a few highlights, but he has not consistently been effective. And hopefully he can do that this year for them and take them to the next level. The Denver Nuggets, their defense was also a question this offseason. Offensively, they were great this previous year. A lot of that being Nikola Jokic and his playmaking and scoring. They acquired Paul Millsap to hopefully make that defense at least respectable, because he's still one of the better power forwards in the NBA. I'm looking at the point guard position, though. They have two options, and one of them needs to be at least a decent NBA player. There's Jamal Murray, whose jumper was really hot to open up last season, then it cooled off. And the other one is Emmanuel Mudiay, who has more of a knack for making plays for others as well as attacking the rim. His problem is he doesn't shoot well from anywhere. Three-pointers, mid-range, floaters, at the basket. Mudiay just needs to be a threat offensively. The Utah Jazz have potentially my favorite center in the NBA in Rudy Gobert, and we're not even going to touch on his defense too much because we know what he as well as these Jazz are going to be defensively this season. But I think what could really unlock their offense is if they can find a way for Favors and Gobert to play together. They're both big men who are always attacking the basket, so they're going to have to figure out the potential spacing issues with those two together. The Portland Trail Blazers, it was a rough beginning of the season for them last season, really before the All-Star break. I mean, CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard are great, and I expect them to keep on doing what they're doing as ball handlers as well as scorers, but they really turned it around once Jusuf Nurkic was acquired from the Denver Nuggets. Can Nurkic keep it up? That's the biggest thing. Their net rating exploded once he was on there. Can he just maintain that for an entire season? The New Orleans Pelicans are hoping that their past few seasons of mediocrity is finally going to turn around because DeMarcus Cousins could be that second star player next to Anthony Davis. But besides Drew Holiday, I have a lot of questions about their perimeter talent. There's E'Twaun Moore, who has always been a lower usage type of a shooter. They're going to need him to come up big. There's also Ian Clark, who's going to have to make his jumpers. And then there's also the point guard Rajon Rondo, whose net rating has been pretty ugly for the past few seasons. They're just going to have to get enough of that other talent. For the Clippers, this one's pretty straightforward. Is Blake Griffin's three-pointer legit? Because his athleticism, while it has looked good to open up the season, it still is not what it once was. But if he's able to make his three-pointers, make his day easier, and give his team constant spacing, then he could be awesome for the Clippers this season. Now, if we take a look at the Memphis Grizzlies, their top two is still fantastic. Because you got Marc Gasol, who even as he ages, seems to keep on getting better. And then there's Mike Conley, whose scoring really went to another level this previous season, but he still has the intangibles, the defense, the team-first mentality. I'm looking at Chandler Parsons, man. Can he just give them something? His knee injury has plagued him for the past couple of seasons, but they're going to need him. For the Mavericks, is Harrison Barnes legit? Does Harrison Barnes actually have another level to get to as an offensive player? Can he be the leader of a rebuild? He made quite an improvement this previous season, and I don't know if a lot of people saw it with his isolation game, his post-ups. Can he just keep on going, or is he going to cap out at around a 19-20 point score? Now, for the Sacramento Kings, I'm actually not too concerned about De'Aaron Fox. I think he's going to be probably the leader of this team, and I think Willie Cauley-Stein showed a lot of good signs once DeMarcus Cousins was gone. I want to ask about Buddy Hield, because I think he has the highest scoring potential of this team, and of course, everybody needs that big-time scorer. He reminds me of Ray Allen quite a bit. If he can be that 20-plus scorer, that'd be great for them. For the Los Angeles Lakers, where's Brandon Ingram? I liked his rookie season, I liked his playmaking and his rebounding, but at a certain point, it's time to get some buckets. That's what they wanted him to be. His jumper has been a disappointment. Can he just be an actual scorer for them? Because if it's not going to be him, I mean, I'm not picturing Lonzo Ball being a big-time scorer, so a lot's going to ride on Ingram's skinny shoulders. And finally, for the Phoenix Suns, can Dragan Bender show some signs? Because defensively, you look at a guy who can defend multiple positions, and then offensively, he has a lot of perimeter skills for a big dude, but he's really young, and physically, he might not be ready for the NBA just yet. I want to see if he can show off some of those things that have NBA scouts so excited.